Today I'm going to be talking about why it's our ethical duty, our obligation to teach our nonverbal kids the sign for all done. This sign is really powerful, but essentially at its core, you're teaching your child it's okay to say no. At any point when you don't like something, you can tell me all done and I will stop what I'm doing. I will back off. Not only can this really foundational sign reduce tantrum behavior, frustration, because then the child is trusting. When I say I don't like something, when I say all done, this adult is going to honor that and it will stop. It really puts the control in the child's hands. It's actually the most humane thing that you can do, reinforcing their communication. It's our obligation as the adult in that child's life to give them the words or the means to get that need met. Because if we don't teach them, who will? Hi, my name is Celeste. I've been in the field of... It's like they don't want me to talk. I've been in the field of ABA for over 12 years, and in that time, I've coached and empowered parents on how to better connect with their autistic child, how to really get in their world and teach meaningful everyday skills. And today, we're talking about the power, the weight of the sign all done, and how you can teach this sign at home. Let's talk about it. Like I said in the beginning, I truly believe it is our ethical responsibility to teach our kids the sign all done. All kids, speaking and not, our nonverbal autistic learners are particularly vulnerable. As parents, as teachers, as clinicians, we're constantly telling our kids what to do, right? Like, put your shoes on, put some sunscreen on, come line up, let's get dressed, come sit down. As a teacher, come do your work. Constantly putting these demands on our kids. And in the same breath, it's our obligation to give them the words or give them the tools to be able to tell us when they don't want to do something. Imagine going through your whole life with people telling you what to do and you not having the words or the means to say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't feel comfortable doing that. Or not right now. Or can I do it later? Because you and I are speaking, we have the privilege and the skill to be able to communicate this really foundational basic need. But our nonverbal learners don't always have that. And that's a skill that needs to be taught. It really goes back to the most foundational parts of humanity, respecting someone enough to back off when they say, no, I don't want to do that. Granted, okay, so I'm not talking about, I know it's not a perfect world, and we can't back off every time our kids say, no, I don't want to do that. Because if we reinforced every all done or I don't want to do that, their teeth would never get brushed. They would never eat their vegetables. They would never come inside. They would never do their homework, right? So I'm not talking about instances where something absolutely has to be done. I'm talking about a child who doesn't have that skill at all. If your child has the sign for all done or has the words to be able to communicate when they don't want to do something, that's enough for me. I think a lot of the time, you know, when we're looking at our nonverbal learner, it's at the forefront of our mind that, oh, I need to teach my child how to get their needs met. I need to know when they're hungry, thirsty, when they want something, a tangible item, right? But we don't always think of teaching them to communicate when they don't want something. That's just as important. And if we don't give our kids the means to communicate when they don't want something, they're going to find a way to tell us, whether that be through aggression or pulling away or pushing us away. That may or may not be an effective way of communicating, but giving them the actual words, the sign for all done, that's giving your child a more direct means of communication. It's functional, it's safe, it's practical, It's giving them a word that they didn't have before. Let's pivot to a story. So, I was working with this nonverbal learner a few years ago, right? Every time we placed hard goals on her, hard skills, she would start screaming and stomping her little feet. In that situation, what was she trying to communicate? She was trying to say, I don't want to do that. She was trying to say, stop doing that. I don't like it. But because she didn't have the words to say it, she would start screaming and stomping her feet. So as a clinician, when I see that, and as a parent, now that your eye is going to be a little bit more trained, I want you to identify this as an opportunity to teach your child this sign. And in this little girl's program, that was a newly proposed goal. That was a goal, that was a skill she didn't have, right? To say all done or to sign all done. So it was proposed as a new goal. Parents were in agreement with it. So whenever we would present an instruction and she didn't want to do it, she had the personal, individual motivation to not want to do that, the goal was for her to sign all done. And we would immediately back off, right? In ABA, it's not our job to push and follow through even when the child doesn't want to do that. That's not ethical. What is ethical, whenever we present a demand, if the child doesn't have the means to say, I don't want to do that, we have to teach it. So that was the goal. And parents were on board at first. But something happened along the way, because as we continue to teach the skill, and the only way to teach a new skill is to keep presenting the opportunities of something yucky. Not too aversive or too intense, but just something that I don't really like. So we can have the motivation to sign all done. So we would say, okay, time to brush your teeth. Before we hit that tantrum, we would get her little hands and sign all done, and then we would back off. We would say, okay, it's time to come to the work table. Before she started screaming and crying, we would want to get her little hands and sign all done, and then back off. We would bring out the flashcard and say, okay, it's time to do your work. And before she would start screaming and crying, we want to get her little hands and have her sign all done. And fade that help over time. So what's happening is we're presenting something yucky, and we're teaching this little girl a fundamental skill. When in life you're presented with something that you don't want to do, you have the right to say, all done. I don't want to do that. Take it away. Because in real life situations, and when this little girl eventually went to school, when she went to extracurricular activities out in the community, when she eventually went to dance class, opportunities naturally in life present themselves that you don't like. And we needed to teach this little girl it's okay to say no. It's okay to say all done. But something happened along the way where parents didn't like ABA presenting aversive tasks on purpose for the sole objective of creating the opportunity. The mom said, I don't think it's right that you bug her on purpose to teach all done. And you know what? As a parent, I get it. I empathize, because it's never fun to see your child struggle and to see them frustrated. And in the same breath, I would argue, what better controlled, safe environment to get those reps in than right now in ABA, when we will reinforce the all done 100% of the time. I had to move because the sun was just blaring in my face. So to finish my thought, the point is not to intentionally provoke the child and create this frustration. The point is to practice the skill at home with parents, with the therapists that are safe, with everyone's love and support, to exercise that muscle in preparation for when they really need it. So when she goes out into the world, she feels confident with this new skill set. And she knows what to do. And okay, pause. I'm talking about mild uncomfortability on behalf of your child, okay? I'm not talking about huge tantrums, meltdowns. This little girl was screaming and stomping her feet, but she was not crying with tears. She wasn't distraught. Her frustration wasn't up here. It was annoyance down here, okay? That is a sweet spot in teaching your child the sign for all done, okay? It shouldn't be complete escalation. Learning doesn't happen when the child is really escalated. Even for us too. We don't learn when we're on level 100 escalated, right? So just something to consider. The mild current discomfort of learning a new skill is worth a lifetime of autonomy and communication with getting one's needs met. In my opinion. That's in my opinion. Let's talk about some examples on how you can start practicing the sign for all done at home, okay? And granted, I wouldn't practice this skill with something that you know you want to follow through on. Let's say you're going to say, okay, it's time to brush your teeth, and you know that your child needs to brush their teeth. It's probably not the best time to practice all done because it needs to be done, right? You want to practice on tasks that you don't mind your son or daughter not completing. Maybe like cleaning up or something. Let's go with that example. There's a mess on the floor and you're about to clean it up. You're gonna clean it up anyway, okay? But you're like, I know my son wouldn't want to do this, but what a great opportunity to practice all done. So you tell him, okay, it's time to clean up your toys. And you see the mild frustration building, right? He's like, or stomping his feet, or maybe whining a little bit. That is the perfect opportunity. You're gonna get his little hands and sign all done. Get his little hands. All done. Okay, all done. You don't have to do it. Never mind. And then you can initiate, like you're cleaning it up anyway yourself, because that's what you're going to do anyways. Breaking down this example, you presented the non-preferred task. You saw that the motivation was present. Help him sign. You say all done, and then you remove the task. Task is presented. Motivation is present from him not to want to do it. Help him sign all done, say all done, and then remove the demand. That was a lot. Let's do another one. Stay with me, okay? Let's say we're in ABA therapy and we're at the work table, we're working fine, we're matching, we're having fun, but all of a sudden, the nonverbal baby wants to leave. He's like, okay, this was fun, but I'm over it. I want to get up. That's another perfect opportunity when you see him start to get up. Then you get his little hands, you sign all done. Okay, all done. Go ahead. And then you scoot his little chair back to allow him to get up and be all done. So he's experiencing the contingency. He's experiencing motivation for something to stop. My mom grabs my hands and does this. Then I get to get up. I like this. I like this new thing. Let's do another example. So your child is in the high chair. They're done eating their food. And you can see that they're all done because those nonverbal cues are there. And maybe you get another spoonful anyway, knowing full yourself, you're not going to follow through, but this is an opportunity to practice all done. So you get another spoon and you present it to him, and your child kind of, he turns away. What do? Get his little hands. All done. Oh, okay, all done. Put the spoon down, take off the high chair tray, and help him get down. So all your components are there. All those pieces have to be there. The motivation, the help, the sign, the labeling, and then the reinforcement. You're pairing actually being all done with the sign all done. That's at its core what ABA is. Principles of motivation and reinforcement. So those are the pieces that we want to see when teaching like these initial signs. Here's another one, okay? Your nonverbal child has a sibling, and the sibling is bugging them, okay? You see sibling pulling their toys, and it's not cool. And you're going to intervene anyway, but you're like, okay, your new trained eye is telling you this is an opportunity for my child to exercise their human right to say, I don't like that. I want to be all done. Stop doing that. Okay? The sign for all done. So you notice motivation is present. You get his little hands, wave them, and you say, all done. Okay, sibling, all done, little brother. And you can remove little brother. Motivation is present. You're helping him sign, saying all done, and then you're reinforcing it. You actually make all done happen. So you're teaching your child the new pattern. When something yucky is happening and I don't like it, all I have to do is this really powerful sign and my needs will be met in some way. Mom or dad will remove whatever yucky thing is happening so that I feel more comfortable and happy. Okay, last example. You're brushing your kid's hair. It's not that messy, but you kind of want it to look a little neater, and you're okay with them going out with crazy hair, the little messy hair. But you're like, I'm gonna try brushing it right now. So you start brushing, and all of a sudden you see your child kind of pull away. They don't like it, okay? That is an opportunity. If as a parent you do a quick assessment, you're like, what is more important? Brushed hair, or do I want to teach a new skill in this moment? Because sometimes brushed hair is going to be more important, and that's okay. But that's why I was saying, as a parent, it has to be something that you want to teach the skill when it's something that you're okay with not following through on. You're okay with forfeiting. So let's say in this example, you're okay with them having messy hair. You start brushing their hair and your child pulls away, and you're like, okay, I'm going to use this as a communication opportunity. Pause the brush, get their little hands, all done. Oh, okay, all done. You don't want to brush your hair? Let's do it later. And you put away the brush, and you're all done with brushing hair. And the idea is that your child should be like, oh, I like that. I like that. Parents, let's practice reinforcing the sign for all done, the message that our kids want to be all done when they want to be all done. I hope this video was helpful. From your favorite BCBA, you got this.